Haverstick with Haverstick Designs. I'm here with Taylor Nelson from Nelson Construction, and we're at Studio 4136 in Encino, California. And this was a detached garage that was converted into a studio. Some of the aspects I love is the sliding glass door, so all the natural light. Challenge we had was that it needed to be isolated from the neighbors and the exterior, so ended up putting an entire new sliding glass door, which is what's needed to isolate that sound as best we could. We ended up tearing everything down to the studs and isolating it with some clips from Kinetics and multiple layers of drywall. And did we use green glue on this job?
Yes, we did use green glue.
Yeah, so green glue was a part of that construction process. So just a huge undertaking, which Taylor managed and conducted himself. What were some of the challenges with the construction side of things?
I'd say number one is getting all that material up the hill. It's about a half a mile long driveway, very steep incline, and none of the service trucks would bring any of the material up here. So
wow.
It was all my guys by hand, or we threw it in the back of my trailer and just made it happen.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, because it is pretty steep all the way up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing that we did was kind of rearrange a few things, because there was a window in here already, but we resized it and repositioned it just so there was better sight lines into the vocal booth. But overall, it sounds like there's no complaints on neighbor's side.
Not at all.
You can crank it in here and.
Yeah, definitely. There's another house probably about like 15 feet from behind this unit, and they haven't said a single thing yet.
That's great. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So, that's great. So, and then part of the process of the design, like we provided the construction document package where you had things to go off of and kind of know what we're after. And I think that's always helpful when you're doing a studio project. It's probably a little different than anything else you build.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
And
you guys were totally helpful. Every time I called, any question, concern, it was a learning curve for sure, but it's done and it looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. It's a really, really cool space. So the isolation, we handled all of that. We ended up going with a mini split system that's actually hidden up above the cloud here. And the first couple feet of the cloud does not have insulation in it for acoustical reasons, because we wanted to allow the sound to go through the acoustically transparent fabric and still heat and cool the room. And nice benefit of that is we're not dealing with duct work and penetrations through the wall system, so that was really nice. Yeah, overall isolation turned out great. You've got these heavy-duty ISO store doors, weigh about 350 pounds a piece.
Yes, they do.
Can be difficult to install, but again, it's one of those things where if you don't have a sufficient door, then it doesn't make sense to do all the things you did on your wall system.
Not at all.
Which is really great. The sliding glass door, I didn't mention this, but it's from soundproofwindows.com. It's got 5/8 inch thick laminated glass, and so couple that with the airspace and the existing sliding glass door really gives us what we want. And having all this natural light in here, but it's great for creativity and just feeling like you're real comfortable in here.
Definitely.
The next thing that we did was we started doing some renderings of the space, and Oscar headed that up, and he put together some ideas of what it was going to look like. You guys supplied us with, like Tanya and you were supplying us with some images of studios that you liked and liked the vibe of it, because that's a big part of the studio is just how you feel in it. And so getting that direction from you, it allowed us to be able to create some renderings and show you what it was going to look like, and how the LED lighting was going to look before it was completed. So everybody can kind of sign off on that and say like, yeah, this is what we want.
I think I sent you guys like 5 or 6 different photos and a little tiny rough sketch that I drew up, and they delivered amazing rendering. I showed so many people that, and they thought it was an actual studio done.
Right.
And luckily, that was the challenge for me, because everyone was expecting to look exactly like that rendering, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to deliver, but I just kept working away at it, and I finally got it to look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And
it's nice to have a rendering, because it gives you something to strive for,
Yes.
because without the rendering, if you just have CAD drawings, which are helpful. It just doesn't give you that visual like keystone that you're going for.
It makes sense to us, but it doesn't make sense to the client.
Exactly. So yeah, all the absorption panels that are in here, all the white ones, are from Acoustical Fulfillment. They're 2-inch thick fulfill panels made out of fiberglass covered in Anchorage white fabric, so you get a real clean look in here. The back wall diffuser is from Acoustic. It's the multi-fuser product that they have. Really cool looking product. It also comes in like a matte white finish and just goes with the whole vibe of the room. And then the way you worked in the LED lighting behind them by spacing the panels off the wall was great, because that also increases the absorption of the panel by having the air gap there, but then it gives you that recessed area to put the LED lighting in. It just looks great in here when you got the lights on. You can change the mood depending on what you're doing. So that's really nice. The soffit bass trap that goes around the perimeter of the room, it's about, I believe it's about 18 inches out and 18 inches down from the ceiling. Just gives us some really substantial bass trapping to help with tangential modes in the room, handle that low end. And then the custom cloud that's right above here is really deep. It has also an air gap behind it, and it covers the mix position, so all the first reflection points are covered too. And then you guys did a great job. You and Simplified Acoustics helped with some of the tucking of the fabric, but they were it turned out really great. It looks real seamless. It looks more like an architectural detail than an acoustical treatment piece, which is what we're after. You don't want it to look like, you want it to look like it's intentional.
So. A lot of people don't even realize that it's fabric up there until I bring them over to the bass trap and I poke at it, and then they realize it's fabric, and they're, oh, it makes more sense.
Right.
And then they ask how the lights are floating, and then I explain it's all framed underneath. And
yeah, because that's the look of recessed lights are great in studios, but you don't want to, after you've done all this work for the isolation shell, you don't want to just poke a bunch of holes in it.
Exactly.
So being able to do that in the soffit and in the cloud gives you that nice recessed look without harming your isolation. So
there's a lot of meticulous layout that had to be thought of before you did anything in order to have the final result how it is now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with the panels on the wall being backlit with the LEDs. It was a challenge, because in the rendering I threw it out there as an idea, but then I realized once the rendering came back I had to figure out how to do it, and I had no plan whatsoever. So I went to my local lighting store where I've been going for past 10 years and said, I need your help, and they laid me out with everything I needed, and we got it handled.
Nice. So Nelson Construction hadn't built a studio before, right?
No, we have not.
Yeah. Okay, so would you do it again?
I would do it again.
Yeah.
I would probably price it a little differently, because I know what to expect now. It's about probably 500 to 1,000 hours over what I expected. But it's a learning curve, and I learned.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a really great isolation room in here, good for vocals, acoustic guitar. You could do drums in there, you could do all sorts of things. And I just think that the size of the studio is something that's really obtainable for a lot of people. Like sometimes the jobs that we do, there's 7 or 8 rooms and you can spread out, and this is a little bit more compact, but it doesn't feel claustrophobic in here. There's a ton of room with the couch in the back, and then the booth is a really nice size. And then when it came to all of the gear in the room, I know that you kind of interfaced with Brian Gross over at Vintage King. They're super helpful with selecting gear, sourcing it, and supplying it. How was that experience?
It was a great experience. They got us the acoustic panel for the back wall, as well as the acoustical fulfillment for the entire room, not only the equipment, so it made it a very one-stop shop. It was convenient as it.
Yeah, that's real nice to be able to go one place and they understand both aspects of it, like not just the acoustical treatment, but also the gear. But yeah, it's a real clean setup, with the studio desk, the focal monitors. You got nice gear in here, nice microphones. It should work out real nice for projects going down the road. So how's Tanya enjoying the studio? I know that this is kind of her main creative space.
It's really nice. She's always had a troubled time going to other people's studios and paying to rent them out and having to deal with just not safe environments. So it's really beneficial for her to be able to work in a space where she feels safe and not worried about who's coming in and what people are doing outside and stuff like that.
Yeah. I bet it's nice too to, like, if she gets a hit of inspiration in the middle of the night, she can come out here and track it too.
Exactly.
It's
A lot of her sessions that she's been having lately, they're not scheduled. She just comes out here, and her producer is actually very close by, so he just can come by whenever we need and just make some music.
That's great. Well, thanks for letting us in today and being able to see the final product. It's cool to see it from the first time I was out here. It was just a empty space, and then to see construction happen, and you sent me photos along the way, and it's exciting to see that. But to step foot in the finished result, man, you did a great job with it. So
Definitely.
yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.